Good evening and welcome into Tennessee Volunteers live on the Voice of College Football Network. Tucker Harlan and Jordan Binkley with you on this Monday evening. Hope all of you are doing well. Happy to have you all along for the ride. If you're new here to the channel, please share. Please like the video first and foremost. I keep messing that up. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Need to workshop some things. But yes, do all of those things if you're new. We appreciate all the support we can get. And, if you know somebody that is not on YouTube or does not frequently watch YouTube, we got good news. You can listen to us on your podcast platform, your preferred podcast platform, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You can listen to us on Spotify. I think we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I know for sure that we're on SoundCloud. We're on all of your favorite audio platforms, so be sure to check us out there as well. And yes, we are now in the 1K Sub Club. Thankfully we've been there for a little bit. We had that nice little show with the breaking news on the Bo Pribula development and the great quarterback hunt of 2026. We appreciate all the support you guys gave us that night. That was an interesting show, to say the least. Want to remind everybody that we have an ongoing Twitter conversation as well on the official Voice of College Football Twitter X account, whatever you want to call it these days, talking all things college football, not just Tennessee. I believe one of the latest questions was the most overrated and underrated hires of the 2026 cycle. I saw our Ohio State guy, Garrison Gaddy, put Jim Knowles as the most overrated hire, which –
yeah, we'll see about that. I don't buy
I don't
that.
know if I'm not going to disagree with it too much, but Tennessee needed him. We'll just put it that way. Tennessee absolutely needed him, and we'll see if it works out for the better for the Vols. So wanted to let you guys know all of that. Also, happy bracket season to all of you who observe. We have a bracket pool going. I'll post it in the chat if I can find the link. But we launched it. We're trying to decide what to do with it. Maybe airtime, potentially.
Believe it or not, I have never actually, no, I take that back. I think once at school, like middle school, I did a March Madness bracket. And of course, I didn't know anything that was going on back then. So I don't remember if I did well. But, that's the only time I've ever done an actual bracket.
We need to change that. We need to change that right now.
Well, I need to study up on some college basketball first. But who knows? Who knows?
Jordan, I'll say this. As somebody who watches tons of college basketball, the less you know, the better off you are.
Okay.
It's a help. It's actually a help because you can sit here and watch as many games as you want, and then you'll see something in March that makes no sense.
And I guess that's why everyone says it's the best of the best in terms of playoffs.
It is the best of the best. I mean, seriously, one of the most flawless brackets. It's something that the college football playoff could really learn from, honestly, with their little committee that they got going on there. Because it always just seems to they don't seem to have it right every single year. They don't say the right things, I think is what I'm trying to say with their brackets each season that they release, not giving proper rationale. But the NCAA tournament, their chairman, he was giving sound rationale as to why they made the decisions that they made in regard to the brackets. So would like to have a little bit more sound structure from college football leadership in that regard.
Yeah, it would be nice, to have all these people publicly speak and say why they chose the teams that they chose, because sometimes it's questionable. Like, I honestly, as much as Tennessee fans really despise Vanderbilt, I was kind of shocked that they ended up getting left out of the playoffs. But I don't know. It was pretty funny though to see that was their best season that they've ever had historically, and still it didn't amount to them going to a playoff. So I'm not going to complain about it, but you would think a 10-2 SEC team would get in there no matter what, but I guess not.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, but posting the bracket challenge in the chat right now. If any of you guys watching this want to join us, we're going to workshop what we'll do with it, though, with what the winner wants. What we want to do with the winner, I guess, is the proper thing to say. David says, I'm glad Tennessee got the 6th seed and we got a winnable bracket. Now, I have heard a lot of mixed opinions on that because having watched this Tennessee team all year, I just know that if one or two things are not functioning properly, this team is not really built to overcome them. For example, missed free throws. I mean, this team, if they're shooting under 70% at the free throw line, which is unfortunately a fairly common occurrence, it may not be a good night. They're turnover prone. They don't look to shoot threes very often. People love, the analysts in particular, love to hype up their offensive rebounding and team rebounding in general, but it's because they miss shots. They miss so many shots at the rim. And we're not talking about missed threes. Like, fine, if you're a bad three-point shooting team, that's great. You'd be lucky to see Tennessee shoot more than 23s a game. If that's happening, then something really weird is happening with this team because it is very front court oriented. I'm not scared of what would happen in the 6-11 matchup between Tennessee and either or with SMU or Miami of Ohio because those two will play.
So they made it in.
Yeah, Miami of Ohio did make it in.
Yeah, good for them.
Despite all the politicking from Bruce Pearl, they made it in over Auburn. I think they were the very last team in the field. Their strength of schedule was weak, though. Really, really weak. Like they played, I think all year, they played Wright State and Akron as far as teams that made the NCAA tournament. But nobody else of significance all season. So that's one of Tennessee's potential draws. SMU is the other, which is kind of interesting with the potential BJ Edwards storyline there. Former Tennessee point guard, went to Knoxville Catholic, then transferred out of Tennessee after one season to SMU. I believe this would be his senior year there. I think that's right, unless he kept the red shirt at Tennessee, and I'm just blanking on it. So that's always a possibility. And if Tennessee were to win in the first round, and I think they do, they'll wind up playing Virginia, who's a 3 seed. And, for the people that say winnable bracket, I look at that Virginia game and I wonder a little bit. They're not the same Tony Bennett stout defensive Virginia that we're accustomed to seeing, but they got this big man named Ugonna Onyenso who had 9 blocks in the ACC championship game the other night.
That is wild.
And Tennessee, Joshy boy, good point here. I would love to see Miami of Ohio play Tennessee. I'm looking for the Miami of Ohio SMU matchup simply because this would be the first time that we get to see anybody go at it with Miami of Ohio. That's a tournament team and in the Power 5 ranks. And yes, pretty terrible strength of schedule. And it's not for lack of effort. They did try really hard to schedule good opponents. But back to Ugonna Onyenso, some of you guys may remember him from his time at Kentucky. He played on John Calipari's last team. They beat Tennessee in Knoxville his last game there. And he had a bunch of blocks early on in that game to set the tone. And based on what I've said about misses around the rim, not being able to finish at the rim, I kind of wonder a little bit about that. Virginia's very quietly put together a nice season in Odom's first year up there. So it's going to be a challenging second-round game if Tennessee gets there. And I think they will get there, but not the easiest 3 seed to draw by any means.
Yeah, didn't Virginia knock Tennessee out a couple of years ago and then won the national championship, or am I getting confused with another team?
No, you're confusing them with Purdue. Virginia is who
Purdue
Tennessee
won the national championship?
No. They didn't win a national championship. They did
okay,
not
I didn't think so.
But Tennessee would have played Virginia had it beaten Purdue in the prior
That's
round.
what I was thinking.
Yeah. The last couple times Tennessee's played Virginia, it's actually gone quite well. Down there in Atlanta last year, they played in, I guess, the Baja Mar Championship. And Tennessee ended up winning that game like 64-42. It's like kind of an ugly first half, and because Virginia offensively they were terrible last season, so Tennessee just shut that down down there in the Bahamas. So, but like I said, very different Virginia team than what we grew up with the stout defenses and 5-star talent beating you 60-48 on any given night. And then if you get past that, you would play Iowa State or potentially Kentucky if Kentucky manages to upset Iowa State in the round of 32 and get into the Sweet 16 as a 7th seed, which would be a rematch in the Sweet 16 from a year ago when Tennessee beat Kentucky in the Sweet 16. Rick Barnes has been terrible against Mark Pope, but that's the one thing that you'll never be able to take away from Rick Barnes against Mark Pope is an NCAA tournament win over him.
Well, it seemed like Tennessee's done a better. I mean, I haven't really kept up with basketball in a while, but I remember when I first started watching Tennessee play. I mean, Kentucky, they had like Anthony Davis and all these other crazy guys, and it seemed like Tennessee couldn't pull off a win. But I mean, when I've checked like the box scores in recent years, I mean, Tennessee at least splits games with them, it seems like, or at least when Rick Barnes was there and John Calipari was still there. But I haven't really seen much of basketball since Mark Pope's joined.
Yeah, no, it's not gone as well for Tennessee against Mark Pope. Although Mark Pope is not, he's gettable. I feel like he's gettable. He just has this weird kind of thing. It's similar to what Will Muschamp and Jim McElwain had over Tennessee football when they were at Florida. That's what it is. The teams that are objectively not better than Tennessee on paper, but there's just something in the matchup that does not favor Tennessee. Admittedly, I'm not enough of a basketball mind to really figure that out, but having seen it, that's what it has to be. Because Tennessee has normally been a good 3-point defensive team, and yet Kentucky, aside from the last time they played them, they've shot lights out the last couple of times that they played Tennessee from 3, especially under Mark Pope. So it's frustrating. It's very frustrating when they get together on the hardwood. But all that to say, again, the tournament challenge link is in the chat if you guys want to join it. We would really appreciate it if you did. Have a little fun. Jordan, you better join it.
Is there any money down on it, or is it one of those?
Money. Okay. No. I would not do that, especially if you haven't watched much. But here's the thing. If you're a casual, it may be better for you.
Who knows? Who knows? I'll have to look at the teams and see what uniforms I like better or whatever, and then pick based on that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's already some interesting drama going on today. What's his name? Aiden Holloway from Alabama getting arrested for having a pound of weed on him.
Ooh, that can't be good.
Which is not good. He's apparently been suspended indefinitely, and they don't know if they're going to get him back for the tournament. So
they're probably going to say he was dealing if he had that much.
Well, that's not the worst thing that's happened under Nate Oates at Alabama. There was a murder that happened.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, Darius Miles. Brandon Miller was indirectly involved in that as well. But that got swept under the rug, that part. But we all know it happened. All right. Well, that's enough basketball for one show, or at least this show. It is the month of March. Basketball is not leaving us until early April. Spring football began today for Tennessee. A little bit of excitement there, some optimism going into next season. Good to see videos of the guys on the turf field because it's freezing over there in Knoxville now. It's been freezing here for like 12 hours now? Almost 24 hours. It was warm yesterday, and then the weather came in and it started snowing. Just out of nowhere.
I didn't see the snow, but man, the cold was frustrating, because I was in Florida recently, and then I come back from Florida and had to deal with this cold weather. I mean, it was a pain taking my dog on the walk. Like I was dressed up like I was about to go hike Mount Everest just to take her around like a 2-lap walk.
It's March, man. It's March for you. It's such a weird month. But anyway, the guys were over there in the Anderson training facility getting loose. Saw some videos from our friend Adam Sparks on George McIntyre. Well, George McIntyre, Faison Brandon, and Ryan Staub getting loose. I guess you can include Mason Phillips in that group. First observation I had, Ryan Staub is built. He's not very tall, but he's built.
Yeah, I mean, and Faison Brandon's got a decent build as well. I mean, of course, both of them are bigger than McIntyre, but I'll say this from the video. I mean, although he's still a pretty slender guy, it looks like he's gained a little bit of weight. So, I mean, I think the rumors about him gaining weight's true, but I mean, he still needs to put on about 20, 25 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Derek Owings is making sure that happens. Lots of talk about him in the press conference today, just having everybody get accustomed to his regimen compared to Kurt Schmidt's, and the differences there. So looking forward to seeing what he can accomplish this offseason. I guess the one other video I saw today was of Ori Williams running around out there. Biggest guy on the team at 6'8", 330, or at least the tallest guy on the team. Looked like he was going half speed because the footwork was a little off. I kind of felt like just from watching that, but again, probably going to go half speed here to start.
Yeah, I didn't happen to see that video, but that was one thing that I was curious about with Ori Williams, because when you're a guy that size, I mean, you would have to imagine it's more difficult to have good footwork and things like that, just because of the sheer science around being that big. But I mean, he did get to go to LSU for a reason, and now he's playing at Tennessee. So I'm assuming that there's more to him than just size, even though I haven't seen any film on him.
Yeah, that's what you have to hope at this point. But you do like his size at 6'8", 330. I saw certain people on the internet, I won't say who, wondering about why there were no videos of wide receivers. Having been there and done that, and I think you know which wide receiver we're talking about here, because none of us have seen him yet in Tennessee gear. But apparently they were on the other side of the field, inside the facility, because usually they go outside for a portion of practice, but I think it was just too cold today in Knoxville, so they decided to stay indoors. But part of it with the receivers is they have, when they do routes on air, media is not always allowed to film. Like, personal testimony here, I've been yelled at by Josh Heupel for doing that on one occasion.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it happens. They don't, because you can only film like 15 minutes of practice. We've talked about this multiple times with guests that we've had on this show. They'll let you in for stretching and a couple of individual drills, and then once they get to scrimmaging, they kick you out of there. There's one practice where they let you see most of it, or at least a few of the other drills in there, but they don't let you film anything past the usual filming periods. You just have to take notes and see what everybody's doing.
They had the same thing with the Titans practices as well. Like it was just all warm-ups, and like, you'd see some drills going on, but in terms of like scrimmages and everything like that, you had to get out of there and you could not record, or you would get yelled at by one of the coaches.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a letdown for those of us who look forward to going to practices, but you can still sit there and watch them. You just have to record what they're doing on paper, not on your phone. So that's the difference there, because all these coaches, they get hyper aware with all this stuff on social media. They don't want any of it floating around preseason for other teams to try and scout their practices. Everyone's become sensitive about all this, and it's understandable. David mentions Gabriel Ascenda and Jeremiah's Hurd here. I saw today that somebody fat-fingered Gabriel Ascenda's weight when entering it on the team website. So he's listed at, I think, 6'8", 630 pounds.
What in the world?
Yeah, which obviously that's not true. But yes, he's listed at 630 pounds in there on the team website. Although somebody's probably seen it by now and corrected it since then.
Yeah, it's reminded me of a guy that was a lot closer to that weight. What was his name? Desmond Watson, Florida's defensive tackle.
Oh
I think
goodness,
that was his name.
he was larger. He's like 60 pounds heavier, 80 pounds heavier even.
That dude wasn't. I mean, he just looked like all he had to do is just fall sideways in the A gap, and then like no running backs gonna get past. That dude is the biggest guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, very very large man. But Gabriel Lucinda is not in fact 630 pounds. If you're wondering, you don't have to fall over and just pancake people. That, I mean, honestly, that could go down as like an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty if if that actually happened. But no, he is not that large. He's just there's just a little bit of a typo on the depth chart there. The other thing I saw in the press conference that kind of took my attention is Heupel addressing the health of the team, and it seems to be that the team is looking healthy going into this early portion of spring football. Did say that there were some like cleanup surgeries there to end the season. Like Arion Carter had one. That was the name he used specifically, which shouldn't surprise anybody, just given his limited availability over the course of the season, and of course opting out of the bowl game, thinking he was going to go to the NFL draft. And this stuff is natural. Guys are going to play hurt all season long. It happens. You see it in the NFL too. And I commend them for doing that in this era of NIL, because it's very easy to have that happen to you and then just sit out an entire season.
Yeah, and I mean, Arian Carter, I'm not so surprised about it. I saw the same quote as well from Heupel. But I mean, I would imagine he's going to be completely healthy by the time the season goes around. I mean, anyone that's played football knows that. I mean, you may not necessarily be injured, but I mean, there's not a single time that you're 100% healthy. You're always hurt to some degree. I mean, some things might be more serious than others, but I mean, that's what's the beauty behind the offseason is you get to heal up a little bit. And I'm sure Tennessee's going to take every precaution they need for Arian Carter, especially because it's going to be his last season.
All right. So one other thing that I've got here from day one of spring practice, new player numbers, as in freshmen and transfers, not just well, I guess it's just those two groups. It's not any returning players changing numbers yet. Again, all of this stuff is subject to change. At quarterback, I think everyone probably saw it already today. Faison is 11, and Ryan Staub is sitting at 17. Like that for Faison. You know, that gives me Josh Dobbs flashbacks. Hopefully he's a better developed product by the time he's out of here than Josh Dobbs and pretty much everybody that came through Tennessee in the Butch Jones era. But automatically like it when a quarterback wears 11.
I mean, Tennessee's had quite a few good number 11s in recent years. I mean, Jalen Hyatt, I mean, as you mentioned, Josh Dobbs, and then, I mean, even before them, Justin Hunter, who was one of my favorite players watching growing up. I mean, pretty good history with that number.
Joey Kent, probably the GOAT 11 in Tennessee football history. I would say so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you got him wearing 11, Staub wearing 17. It's kind of funny. I feel like 17 is a number that you'd see like a larger quarterback wear. I could be wrong on that. Like he's not nearly as tall as like a Phillip Rivers who was wearing 17.
Yeah, as we've talked about this before, and I've never been a huge fan of the number 17 for a quarterback. No. I mean, I know T. Martin had it. I know that, Josh Allen and then Phillip Rivers, but I mean, I've never really liked it that much for a quarterback.
No, not been a fan of that either. Javon Gordon wearing 21. Who's the last good running back Tennessee had that wore 21?
Well, I know a good receiver that had 21.
Yeah, I think I know what receiver you're talking about. Yeah. David Rickey himself.
Yeah. Oh, man, what if?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, exactly. Derrick wearing 21, but not at running back, though, which is...
I mean, Briggs, he wore 21, right? But I don't know if he'd be the last one that was good.
Maybe. I'm seriously blanking on this because What often happens with these skill guys is they change numbers, and who knows, Javon Gordon could change as we get closer to the season. But yeah, he's wearing 21 at least in spring ball. So again, subject to change. Tristan TK Keys, whatever we're calling him these days, is wearing 80. Hoping that changes.
Yeah.
And I think it will.
I mean, if you're not Jerry Rice, I don't know if I like the number 80 on receivers.
Yeah. Believe it was Rodarius Jackson who wore 5 last year at receiver, and Tristan Keys wore 5 in high school. So I think that may have to change.
Yeah, he deserves a single-digit number.
Yeah. Ian Duart, the return man, is wearing 81. The transfer return man from Idaho State. Again, another one where I could see him potentially changing numbers later on down the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's another number that's had some success, or at least they did with Alvin Harper back in the day, which is another one of Tennessee's all-time greats.
Yeah. All right. Looking down here on the offensive line now, Gabriel Asinda wearing 79. I believe that's what he wore in high school. That's a solid tackle number, though.
Yeah, for a tackle, I guess, but I think that's one of the ugliest numbers that you can wear. I don't like 79 very much.
Not a 79 fan either.
I think Chris Scott wore 79 too, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah. Sean Bryson. Yeah, that's a good number 21 right there.
Yeah, very good 21. Trying to think of any others of note on this list. Looks like there's 2 87s in the freshman class, Kedrick Golston and Luka Wolf. Luka Wolf wearing it at tight end. I like 87 on a tight end. Jacob Warren was a nice 87 here recently at tight end.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid number overall. But yeah, for a tight end especially, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we'll take that over Miles Kitzelman wearing 87.
Oh, man.
Linebackers, both wearing 50s right now. TJ White wearing 51, Braden Rouse wearing 52. Those look good in like the old NFL days, but I think we need to change those numbers here in the future.
Yeah, a lot of legends of war 52, man. I mean, Ray Lewis aside, I remember John Beeson back in the day for the Panthers. He had 52. And Patrick Willis, too, one of my all-time favorite players.
Yeah. Others of note on here, Quay Moss wearing 19 at defensive back. Yeah, Gerard Mayo wearing 51 in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Another VFL.
Tackling machine.
Yeah, I wish I had David's encyclopedia because I'm a little bit of a young man. If you get me to like 2010s guys, I can absolutely remember them. But some of the other ones are a little bit challenging. But I do remember Gerard Mayo wearing 51 in the NFL. He did not wear that at Tennessee, though. He was 7 at Tennessee because there was somebody on Ball Facebook put a picture of, I think it was Casey Clausen, and labeled him as Gerard Mayo. Somebody did it recently.
I know that page, dude. I swear they do it on purpose because I get recommendations for that Facebook page all the time, and they consistently, like I saw one recently, they were like talking about Travis Henry and they put a picture of Travis Stevens on there. I'm like, man, what kind of AI ran Facebook page is this? Obviously, they never get the right pictures right.
I can't stand it when they do that. Other transfers here of note, DeJuan Lane wearing 23. Let's hope he ends up like Prentice Wagner and not Boo Carter.
Yeah, definitely not like Boo Carter. And 23, man, legendary number. Best basketball player of all time.
Yes. Your namesake. Let's see, 28. You got TJ Metcalf wearing 28. Think that'll probably change eventually.
Yeah, that's more of a running back number to me.
Yeah. Taron Poole is what I associate 28 with at Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, I love that guy. And, you know, if you want to bring it on to legendary people to wear 28, Adrian Peterson, probably the best running back I ever seen play.
Yes. Amari Campbell wearing 55. That's kind of surprising. I would have thought he'd gone lower than that, maybe like 40s.
Yeah, 55 is an interesting number for a linebacker, but I'm trying to think. There was one. Was it oh man, what's his name? I don't want to like oh god, Junior Seau. Didn't he wear number 55 if I'm not
I think
mistaken?
it's either 55 or 51. It's one of those two.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dan
Oh,
Hey, shout out to
your
Dan
boy.
Williams. Shout out to Dan Williams. Fun fact for everyone that's listening right now. I've been friends with him on Facebook since I was a kid because I went out of my way to add all Tennessee players. Me and him used to play in the mobile app Idle Miner Tycoon all the time. We used to help build each other's gold up and everything like that. You know, shout out to Dan Williams. He made me a lot of money in that game.
Yeah, Dan Williams. What a guy. Jordan's best friend.
My best friend.
Your best of all Facebook friend right there. Others of note here in the transfer portal, you've got oh man, I'm looking Xavier Gilliam wearing 54 on the defensive line. That's an okay defensive line number.
I'm more of a
Not
90s guy. 90s
yeah,
or like, like single digits, or I kind of like, like the 19 and stuff like that with like Josh Joseph's, like a teens number, a single
yeah.
tier number or 90s.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that's what Chaz Coleman is going to shift down to. He's listed as 90 right now, which is a cool defensive line number, but and now that it's become, I guess, legal in the NFL to change your numbers to single digits if you want to, I would imagine you're going to see less 90s in the NFL here now. And I think 19 is probably what you're going to see Chaz Coleman shift to. It's just an early prediction at this point, but makes the most sense.
Yeah, and it definitely looked better than 90 because I am a fan of 90s numbers, but I'm not so much a fan of the number 90 in general.
And then offensive line here from the portal, you've got Donovan Haslam at 67. It's a decent offensive line number. Ori Williams at 77, keeping his old number from LSU at 77.
77's a nice one. And shout out to 67 because that was my football number for 3 years in high school.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, 6'7".
You were ahead of the trend.
Yeah, I was, man. Now every time I see my old jersey, I get a laugh out of it. I'm like, dude, if I only played today, like just imagine me getting a sack and then hitting the 6'7" emote.
Oh. Stink Gen Alphas, man. Stay away from them. They got brain rot humor left and right. Yeah, I would love an edge to wear one. That would be fun. Is Khalil McKenzie the last one we've had do that? Maybe Jonathan Kongbo at one point?
I think Kongbo did as well.
Yeah, that would be the most recent one to my knowledge.
That's a hard number to get, though. So if you're a defensive lineman, you're able to pull that off. That's pretty impressive because everybody wants a number one.
Yeah. Why am I drawing a blank on who one is on this current team? I think Travis Smith. Maybe.
Yes.
Because Ricky Gibson was one and he's gone. So,
I'd like to see a quarterback or a defensive end have the number 0. That's what I'm waiting to see.
A quarterback or a defensive end?
Uh-huh. I like the number 0, and I'm so glad that it's, actually legal now in college football.
Yeah.
I know there was
that would be fun.
Yeah, I know there was like a college quarterback somewhere that had the number 0. I can't remember where at, but I want to see it specifically at Tennessee. Because obviously there's no legends with the number 0 because it's so new. I mean, it would be a perfect opportunity to like cement your legacy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to see a quarterback wear 0 for somebody in the SEC at some point.
Well, let me tell you
Ethan Davis is your current 0. I do like that at 0 at tight end.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 0 is just a nice number overall, but here's something that I've always suggested that I don't know if college will ever adopt, but it's cool that the number 0 exists, but they should give the same love to offensive linemen. I think 00 should be an offensive lineman number. They do it in basketball. Otto Graham, I'm pretty sure, had 00 back in the day.
Yeah, that would be fun if you could do 00s on the offensive line. And then when the ref has to announce the penalty, they just go like this.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Although I guess they just say it, so you don't have to use any kind of hand signals. So So that's about all I wanted to get into for spring football today. I know this has gone on to some kind of like weird tangent about uniforms. We'll have more to talk about next week with it because we'll have an entire week's worth of it. And I believe it was just Josh Heupel who spoke with the media today about everything and talking a little bit about the quarterback competition with George and Faison. Said he wasn't going to be able to give you a winner just yet, and we weren't expecting it. We weren't expecting it right now. These things have to develop a little bit. And then just that the team is healthy and you've got 46 new players on the team is the other big takeaway I had because you have so many changes on the defensive side of the football, which I think rosters are going up to 105 soon. I just forget when exactly. Like they put in the rule change, the NCAA did, that would expand college football rosters to 105 players. But still, that's almost half a team if it has expanded to that. And if it's still at 85, well, then heck, that's over half a team, which is kind of crazy.
46 new players that's pretty crazy, to be honest. I mean, that's a big change right there. I mean, I don't think many high school football teams in total have like 46 players.
I have not found much recruiting news lately, Rhonda. I wish there was more recruiting news. Sean Tatum, I think, he was supposed to come on a visit here recently, the offensive lineman from Florida.
There's one like unfortunate recruiting news story that happened, I think, like last week or so. But I mean, we should have expected it. Cooper Witten going to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I dismissed any and all odds of him coming to Tennessee the moment Jason Witten took that job.
Yeah, it's unfortunate though, because if he didn't take that job, you would imagine he would have played at Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't have much recruiting news this week, unfortunately. I know there was one guy who's scheduled to visit tomorrow. I think his name is Caleb Cooper. He's a 3-star athlete in the class of 2027. I don't know what exactly he plays on the at Providence Day, but Providence Day, if that is familiar to any of you guys listening, it should be. For one, for those of you who love football, just Tennessee football alone, that's home of David Sanders Jr. So maybe a little recruiting plug there, a little recruiting pitch to try and get him to Tennessee. And two, home of Grant Williams, legendary Tennessee basketball player. So I wish they had, Rhonda. I really wish they had.
Yeah, I mean, that would have definitely – I mean, Jason Witten getting to coach up Ethan Davis. I mean, it can't get much better than that.
Yeah. They are going after multiple running backs. Tyson Robinson, Andrew Beard is the other one that keeps coming to mind. Those are the two that I've been seeing lately. We'll see how many of them come to campus. I think Robinson is scheduled to at some point. Maybe Beard had a visit in there. I know he trimmed Tennessee into that list. Actually, there is one other thing that I saw. Segara and Barnes are two to keep an eye on. I think Asa Barnes is pretty firmly looking at Tennessee too, just being an in-state kid from Westview. There was one, Keon Standifer from Georgia. He's a little bitty slot receiver, 5'9", 170, I think is what he's listed at. Had previously committed to Georgia Tech, I think, and has, I think, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, and Florida State in his top 3 schools. So I don't know how much interest there is there with Tennessee. I've seen Tennessee mentioned in a lot of conversations with him. I don't know of any visits of any kind that he's taken to Tennessee lately, though.
What's the last little receiver that Tennessee's really had out there? Because it seems like Josh Heupel's had mostly guys over 6 foot.
Velus Jones, maybe?
Oh yeah, I don't think he was that.
He's smaller, but he's not little.
Yeah, I mean, the first little guy that comes to my mind is Pig Howard back in the day. I mean, that dude wasn't very, very big, but he was fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't know what Tennessee is like in that recruiting battle, what Tennessee's chances are like there necessarily. DGG,
no. I think that ship sailed. Unfortunately.
There's a long way to go in his recruitment, but this is how we feel about it already.
I mean, everything he said about Ohio State, it seems to be positive. I mean, I think he's visited there several times now. And I mean, we've seen this story time and time again with Tennessee recruits or potential Tennessee recruits going off to Ohio State. So, I mean, if Tennessee ever gets down the wire with Ohio State, I'm assuming they're going to Ohio State.
Keyshawn Bowman is an interesting one to keep an eye on as well. I think he put Tennessee in his top 5 here lately. I know Vanderbilt's going at him hard. Miami is the other one that's giving him a look. Alabama is too. But I've heard they've gained some momentum. Royal is scheduled to visit Tennessee at some point, although I think Texas is still going to win that battle.
Wait, is he related to Eddie Royal? I gotta look
That's
that
a
up.
fantastic question that I don't know the answer to. I think Easton Royals from Texas. Let me take a look. Because now you've got me wondering.
Okay.
From New Orleans. Let's see. 247 profile.
I haven't found anything yet.
No, I'm not seeing anything on a relation with Eddie Royal.
Huh.
That would have been an insane pull, though.
Yeah, I was sure hoping. So.
Yeah. All right, one more order of business before we get out of here, and that is this projected win total that FanDuel has released for Tennessee next season, which I looked at it and I was just like, really? This is what they're saying right now that Tennessee's projecting at? Because I understand part of the rationale behind it. I understand part of it, but the next time Josh Heupel wins fewer than 7 games at Tennessee in a season will be his first.
And probably his last.
And probably his last. So on that note, Tennessee is projected to win 6.5 games in 2026 per FanDuel. Jordan, your initial thoughts on this bizarre projection?
I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, especially some of the teams lumped in here too. Like, I mean, is Auburn going to be on the same level as Tennessee with a first-year head coach? I mean, I think Florida, I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up doing a little bit better because there seems to be a lot of hype around Summerall. But, I mean, they got 5 teams projected to win 6.5, and that's Florida, Tennessee, Missouri, Auburn, and Vanderbilt. But, I mean, you look at Tennessee's schedule, and they have some difficult opponents. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the addition of having to play Texas and LSU this year is going to be hard to win, but I mean, you got to think a guaranteed win against Furman. I think Tennessee's got a good shot of beating Georgia Tech. Then you got Kennesaw State, guaranteed win. Auburn, I think Tennessee gets the job done. Arkansas, same thing. South Carolina, Kentucky. And, I think Tennessee gets their revenge on Vanderbilt. And right there, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You already got 7 right there, like that I think that Tennessee can win. And then I think that they can put up a good challenge against maybe Texas and Alabama this year too. So, I mean, I think at the worst, Tennessee wins only 7 games this year. And I think at best they win 10.
I'm with you on the 10. I'm with you on the max at 10. The 2 that I look at right now and say, I don't see it are Texas at home, simply because, and I understand the Arch Manning hype was a little bit misguided last season, going into the season. But down the stretch, he kind of proved why he was ranked that high and got them to that 10-3 finish. That offense is only getting better with those acquisitions. Cam Coleman, the 2 running backs, Smothers and Brown, and then they had 1 offensive lineman who I'm blanking on that they brought in, and a couple good defensive acquisitions as well. Not that the defense was hurting by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, they brought in Will Muschamp. So that should only help their defense. So don't like the odds there for Tennessee, but looking on down the schedule, I don't see another one off the bat until Texas A&M that I would just chalk up as a loss right now. And I say that with A&M mainly because it's a road game. For one, I'm going, by the way. Going to A&M, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I found that out a few days ago. So looking forward to that. And then just the fact that they got Marcel Reed at quarterback again. Starting quarterback experience counts, and I think that's something that is going to play big in Texas A&M's favor next season. So those are the only two that I look at as surefire losses at the moment. I mean, if one of Furman or Kent State is not a win, then we absolutely need to be having Josh Heupel hot seat conversations. So, and that's absolutely right. They were putting us through the floor in Heupel's first year. And some people said 5-7, 4-8 was a potential possibility in 2025, which was just not at all true to any of us who know the program. But I mean, really looking at it, like Georgia Tech on the road is a game that I wouldn't say Tennessee loses right now. Like you're going to have a new offensive coordinator, new personnel in the system down there at Georgia Tech. Alberto Mendoza, yeah, he's Fernando's younger brother. Is he actually that good of a quarterback in meaningful snap time? Like the first 3 quarters of the game? We know he can run the ball better than Fernando, but we don't know about his arm talent.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Tennessee is going to get the win over Georgia Tech. I mean, if they still had Haynes King, I would say that it would be a little bit of a riskier game to pick Tennessee winning that one over. But I mean, I think Georgia Tech, they seemingly, at least in the past couple of years, have played their best game against Georgia. Thankfully, we're not Georgia, or I would be a little bit more worried because they seem to play their best football then. But I think Tennessee gets the job done against Georgia Tech. But I'm glad you mentioned Texas A&M game because I still have a little bit of PTSD of that, like what was a double overtime game in like 2015 or 2016. I mean,
where they had to pick to seal it.
I mean, it seemed like things were going to go Tennessee's way up until the end. I mean, but I'm worried about LSU. I think Tennessee should have every. I mean, I think the fan base is going to be rocking, probably loudest game of the year, either that or Texas, but it seems like Tennessee has been cursed over Lane Kiffin as of late. I mean, he always gets the last laugh. Maybe Tennessee can turn it around this year, but I mean, I think if Lane Kiffin wasn't the head coach, I think Tennessee has a good shot of winning that game. Considering Lane Kiffin is the head coach, I mean, I just have a little bit too much PTSD to choose Tennessee over LSU right now.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I'm not going to call a winner there, though. And here's why. Because this LSU team is so portal heavy this year. And the portal is such an experiment. Like, is Sam Levitt actually that good of a quarterback? Like, the only 2 teams we've seen Sam Levitt play against in the SEC in his college football career are Mississippi State in 2024 and 2025. Both of those teams had horrific defenses, and he did not do well against them. In fact, he lost to one of them. Now, not to say that Lane Kiffin is not a better mind offensively. My point exactly. Like he could struggle out there a little bit, and we just don't know it. It's not like Kiffin's going out there and throwing the football for him. They're so portal heavy on both sides of the football that it's such an experiment we don't know yet. So I'm not going to call that one a loss. Now maybe they get it rolling later on in the season, and then you're like, maybe they aren't going to beat LSU. But it's too early to call with the portal teams, or at least the teams that are super heavy on portal acquisitions this season, just because there's so many unknowns. So many things have to gel in order for it to work.
Yeah, and you'd have to imagine chemistry could become an issue with them. But I mean, the game's later down the line, so I don't know if things start to click at that point. But I mean, also too, I mean, Lane Kiffin, like, what's the worst quarterback that he's had, or at least since he's been at Ole Miss? Because all of them seemingly have been pretty good. I mean, he had Jackson Dart, he had Trinidad Chambliss, and even before him, Matt Corral rushed for freaking almost 200 yards against Tennessee the last time they played.
I'm trying to think who played quarterback for him at USC. Really going to have to turn back time here and try and figure it out. There was at least a couple of Barkley seasons there. I'm trying to think who played quarterback for them after Barkley, though.
I remember that one guy. I think he's like a media personality now.
It's not Matt Leinart.
No,
Matt
not Matt
Leinert's
Leinart.
long gone.
No, he was a backup to Matt Barkley. Let me look up USC 2010.
It's not Max Brown, is it?
That's who I was thinking of.
I don't remember him being good though.
No, I don't think he was good, but I just remember him being there. I don't know if Lane Kiffin coached him or not.
Oh, Cody Kessler.
Oh yeah, I remember Kessler. Yeah.
That's who it was. I had
But was he
completely
that
forgotten
great
about
either?
that until now. He made it to the NFL. He played for the Browns. Not that that's saying much, but the Cleveland Browns always need themselves a quarterback.
Okay, well, actually, yeah, he was. Well, how long was Lane Kiffin there till? Because it said he played from 2012 to 2015, and I guess you were right about him being good because he threw for nearly 4,000 yards, had 39 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I don't remember him being that good.
Kiffin was there from 2010 to like the third week of the season in 2013 because they fired him on the tarmac after he gave up like 60 points to Arizona State on the road.
Then he would have coached Kessler then, and I mean he had pretty decent stats for a sophomore.
Yeah, so that was who it was. I was trying to think because I knew he had a solid quarterback. I just couldn't remember who it was that played for him. But that one again, we'll have to see what they're looking like at that point in the season to really get assessment of it. And then to be honest, I look at some of these other SEC games like Auburn. They will have had a chance to have built themselves up. Like I think they played Baylor and Florida, maybe one other team before they played Tennessee of significance. Um, and then after that, they got to play Georgia and then somebody else that's really, really hard to play against at that point in the season. So Auburn, like Byron Brown is a proven playmaker. How does that work in the SEC? Is their defense going to look pretty patchy because they did not do a good job of holding it together on the defensive end, preventing guys from hitting the portal this offseason like they thought they would by retaining Durkin. Arkansas, I know the game is on the road and Tennessee's somewhat cursed against Arkansas, but I don't know what kind of optimism there is out there for this season, if there's optimism, just other than the fact that there's a guy not named Sam Pittman coaching your team. South Carolina, again, we understand the curse there. There's also a chance they go like 3-9 this year and Shane Beamer gets fired. It's not impossible. Alabama, I understand it's Alabama. They're good traditionally. Going to have a new quarterback for the third time in as many years under Kalen DeBoer that he's working with. How comfortable is that fit? How does the rest of the offense look? Is the offensive line actually better this year for Alabama? I wouldn't guarantee that as a loss for Tennessee. Kentucky has the makings of a fun, bad SEC team to me. Just with a bunch of offensive acquisitions to make their offense more fun this season, and then, maybe struggle a little bit away from Kentucky. They might get a couple people this season, catch a couple people sleeping, but again, the next time Tennessee is truly fearful of Kentucky in football will be the first. And then, of course, you got to factor in Vanderbilt. Yes, they beat Tennessee last year. Diego Pavia is not walking through that door, though. They got Jared Curtis, who, yes, he's a 5-star. Is he going to be balling out next season, or is he going to look like Dylan Raiola his freshman year? I mean, there's two very different possibilities in the spectrum right there. So I would say Tennessee will at least be competitive in 10 games. I'm not going to say they're going to go 10-2. I feel like that's a little bit of an absurd claim with a redshirt freshman and a freshman duking it out for the starting job at quarterback this season. But I think it's reasonable to expect more than 6.5 wins is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, 6.5 is just way too low for me. If you want to say 7, I can maybe get on board with that. Even though I think Tennessee ultimately wins 8 games this season, I think that's the most realistic thing that's going to go on. Because, I mean, I don't see Tennessee losing to a team full of former assistants like at Auburn. I don't think Josh Heupel is going to allow that to happen, especially if people start to question his coaching abilities, which I think some fans have over like the past year or two. And I don't see that becoming a problem for him. But I mean, most of these games on here, I mean, are pretty winnable. I mean, outside of like, like LSU, Alabama, Texas. And then I want to speak something about like the Alabama game for a second. I mean, if history keeps repeating itself, then Tennessee's due for a win over against Alabama. I mean, Tennessee seemingly loses on the road to Alabama and beats them at home. And then you don't have to worry about it being a Nick Saban led coaching team anymore. And I don't think many people are nearly as scared of Kalen DeBoer being Alabama's head coach. And then plus, like, I think Tennessee had a good shot of beating Alabama last season too, if there wasn't the interception before halftime and then all this other stuff that just killed the morale. Like, I think Tennessee had a good shot. They just, shot themselves in the foot. I don't know if Tennessee is going to have that problem against Alabama this season.
No, at home it's definitely less likely. So I have a little bit more of an optimistic view of the season than some people, but I don't think 6.5 wins is realistic. That is the worst it can get, possibly under Josh Heupel.
Yeah, so might as well. I mean, I ain't a better, but I mean, if I was, I'd put my money on that right now. I mean, because I think Tennessee's going to win at least 7 games next year, so might as well get your money's worth.
Yeah, I'd say you have to. If Josh Heupel is going to keep this thing rolling at Tennessee, he's certainly raised the floor. We'll give him that. But I do kind of agree with Rhonda here. If you do have a bad year, I'd say get a new OC, and Heupel needs to give up play calling because that it's not that his play calling was not good last year. It's just that between the play calling and game management, both things were not humming along together. And that is something that can get you in trouble as a head coach, is game management. And hopefully that's something he's learned from this year. I really hope it is.
I mean, he's seemingly taken positive steps so far. I mean, I don't think either of us ever thought that he was going to fire a coach. I mean, he seemed to be too friendly of a guy, and he finally canned Tim Banks, and Willie Martinez is gone now. We'll see if he ends up stop favoring the older guys. I don't know if that will end up be the case. I guess we'll find out week 1 who ends up starting and who doesn't. But I mean, those 2 reasons and then his game management are like the only 3 complaints I really have with Josh Heupel. I mean, outside of that, he seems to be a pretty solid head coach. He's done a lot of good things for Tennessee, but I mean, there's just a few things he needs to fix, and he's already done that with hiring Jim Knowles and this defensive coaching stuff.
All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for us tonight, unless we missed anything, Jordan.
Actually, let me check. There may be something. I know we mentioned Cooper Witten, which I forgot to mention that last Monday. There may be something.
Yeah. Another thing we forgot to mention that we should mention, shout out Alontae Taylor and Cade Mays for signing new free agency deals in the NFL. Super excited about Alontae Taylor coming to the Tennessee Titans, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to them. It's always good seeing Vols get their money in the NFL, and especially doing good. But I was actually going to bring up an NFL thing too. I didn't realize that he was the NFLPA's president, but he got reelected. Jalen Reeves-Maben. Let's go. Yeah. Congratulations to Reeves-Maben. He actually smoked Centennial when maybe it was my freshman year when I wasn't on varsity, or it was the year before. He ran for like 400 yards, like as a quarterback.
Over there at Clarksville Northeast.
Yeah.
He had been elected to that role previously, but I did see where he got reelected. So big congrats to JRM on that for the second year in a row, having that position. But I think that is going to do it for us tonight. Again, we appreciate all of you for watching, listening, however you're consuming us this time around. That's always sounds really weird to say, consuming us. Like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. And yes, they somehow still made the tournament, David. I don't know how they still made the tournament as a 10 seed, which is kind of crazy. I guess I should mention before we go, the baseball team did lose their series to Georgia. It's unfortunate, but Georgia is a pretty solid baseball team, though. They're number 8 in the country for a reason when Tennessee played them. So not the worst series loss. If anything, I'm encouraged by the batting play. We won't get into what happened down the stretch when Elander did not pull a pitcher who couldn't grip the ball because it was rainy, and why that game was allowed to continue because of the rain. But again, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you've not already. And again, reminder, you can listen to us on Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all of your favorite audio platforms. We are there with you, not just on video, but you can check that all out. And be looking for our Twitter conversations as well. The Voice of College Football account on Twitter. Be sure and interact with that. They're asking questions all the time on there. I interact with some of them just with what I find interesting, and also I don't want to spam them 24/7. But check that out. Also, I put it in the chat earlier. Bracket pool. Go enter it if you haven't already. We're making sure Jordan enters this bracket pool.
It's on Twitter as well, right?
Yes, it's on Twitter. You can go find it there as well if you're not only on YouTube. But that is going to do it for us tonight. For Jordan Bickley, I am Tucker Harlan. We will talk to you guys again next week.